Only the elect are found written in the book of life. Giving all praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. And I'm going to open up with Daniel 12, verse 1. I may just read the first verse, or I may read a couple of verses down. Let's see where the Spirit takes me. Anyway, it says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince. Now, what should come into your mind is at least one precept. Revelation chapter 12. So this is talking about the same time period. It's talking about the time of Jacob's trouble. You can call it the Great Tribulation, because the word tribulation and Great Tribulation is mentioned in the scriptures, but not the way the Christian community teaches it, that there's going to be a rapture, and then there's going to be a 7-year tribulation period, which is not true. They're going by Daniel chapter 9, verse 27. You can start at verse 24 of that same chapter, and that took place already. And that just shows you that the Most High is not dealing with these Christians. So they don't understand prophecy. They don't understand how prophecy works. So let's read this again. Daniel 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince that standeth for the children of thy people, which are the Israelites, or national Israel. Not the so-called body of believers, or the, what's the term, replacement theology, meaning anytime you come across the word Israel, it's really talking about the body of believers, which could be from the nation of Edom, Elam, Ham, Ishmael, maybe sprinkle a couple of Israelites up in there. That's clearly not scriptural. Anyway, it says, and there shall be a time of trouble. The time of trouble is Jacob's trouble, the great tribulation, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people, which are Israelites, but not just Israelites, the elect of Israel. It tells you that in Matthew 24. Most High is coming to deliver the elect. So the rest of you Israelites that are not a part of the elect, you will die the death of Esau and the other nations. It says, and at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. What book? The book of life. And I'm going to give you these precepts here. I'm just going to read these precepts and see what other precepts come to mind. And then you'll understand that Daniel, the 12th chapter, when you read about Michael delivering his people, or the people of the Most High, that represents the elect. The elect, the elect. So how will the rest of Israel come back pursuant to Romans, the 11th chapter? They'll come back through the elect. And this is why we hope, we humbly say, we are the hopeful elect. Give diligence to make thy calling and election sure. If you're not diligent, if you came into this truth, you went back into the world, you turn your back on the plow, you're not of the elect. And the Most High set it up that way for certain people to come in and to fall back out to manifest that they were not a part of his. 1 John 2 verse 20. I believe it's 20. Anyway, it says in Revelation 3 verse 5, he that overcometh, overcome what? If you read Revelation 15, the first couple of verses, it speaks about a group of people being above the firmament, harps playing, and saying they that got, these are those that got the victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark. So you can't take the mark, the charagma, the engraved thing, until you worship the beast. And a lot of people don't even know who the beast is. They say it's the Antichrist. There's no such thing as the Antichrist. That's another thing that Christians go off on. It says, Revelation 3 verse 5, he that overcometh the same shall be clothed in white remnant, and I will not blot out his name out of the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. Revelation 13 verse 8, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. Now, I was watching something I believe is called Truth Seeker, and this individual is breaking down what's in the jab, and he said a certain amount of metals. That's why people are magnetized, become magnetized in that area where they took the jab. And the individual also said that it has aborted baby fetuses. Now, they may just take this video down, so if you see this, get to see this video that I'm doing right now, make a copy of it. It says, and I'm going to most likely put this up on Odyssey. I'll give you the link in the description box. Anyway, it says Revelation 13 verse 8, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. Who's the him? The beast and his image, and ultimately the mark, whose names are not written in the book of life. And I speak to a lot of people in elevators, just people that I kind of know, on a, people that you say what's up to. And I ask them about whether they took the jab or not. And most of them said they do. And as I said in previous videos, there's a nurse I know that I asked, and I figured, she took it. She's a nurse. She said, "Oh, hell no." She said, I'm not taking that shit. And her son is in the medical field as well. He said he's not going to take it. He's a young man. And now you have police officers that say they're not going to take the jab. Firemen, civil servants. And why is that? Because they're putting the pressure on them. Well, you got until X amount of time to take this jab. So they're protesting against it. EMS, doctors, nurses, firemen, policemen, certain companies, if there's a certain amount of people in a particular company, they have to all get it. So you're going to see a lot of people walk out on the job. And you have a story up there, I believe that's in Boston, where they had to send in the National Guard to take children to school. And you have a lot of parents that don't want their children to, be vaccinated, which we know where this all is going to lead to. If you know GMS, the main topic that we get into that other camps don't get into is the charagma. And we're 1,000,000% sure about that. Anyway, Revelation 13 verse 8, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. And I'm going to say this, man. I do videos as much as I can. I believe I'm diligent, but my attitude is I'm not diligent enough. So what about the guy, the lukewarm guy? Because there's a lot of lukewarm people out there among you Israelites. A lot of cheerleaders out there. A lot of you that will not grow. Ultimately, you grow in this truth so you can be teachers, evangelists, prophets, men of the Lord. Hell, there's women out there in this thing that's more diligent than a lot of you men that really want to go out there, but they can't. They can't. And that's a goddamn shame, man. Grown-ass men acting like fucking kids. The Apostle Paul spoke about that. I believe that's 1 Corinthians 13. He said, when I was a child, I spoke of it as a child. I acted as a child. I did things as a child. I'm merely paraphrasing. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. A lot of you men that woke up to the fact that you're Israelites, you come to get entertained. And I'm not talking about you that been in this thing you found out about this a couple of months ago, 3 months ago, whatever, 6 months ago maybe. But there comes a time where, you eat this roll and go out and teach the children of Israel. This is not a game. This is not a hobby. This damn sure ain't no hobby. This is a way of life. You know how to use that. This is a way of life. Anyway, let me go back to Revelation 13 verse 8. And the ones of you that are lukewarm, that are not diligent, you're the same ones that's going to ultimately take that charagma. Mark my word. You're going to take that charagma. It says, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. Well, it should be really most, because we're not going to, all represents everyone, right? The majority of the earth, when they get finished with you, what they're doing right now, the lockdowns and everything, you're going to have people begging to get the charagma. It says, whose names are not written in the book of life. So just because you're an Israelite doesn't mean you're written in the book of life. The ones that are written in the book of life are the elect of Israel. It says, the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So it was prophesied that he was supposed to be slain by the hands of the Romans on a physical level. But it was the decision of the wicked scribes and Pharisees, which are back here today, and them same niggas are going to get they're going to take that mark and they're going to push it too. Revelation 17 verse 8. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. And which is that beast that was here and was not here and is back. That's talking about right now. The beast is here among us, all around us. Ascend out of the bottomless pit that represents Europe by way of Spain, and go into perdition, destruction, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. So we're in the time period of the and yet is. It says that the ones that are not written in the book of life shall wonder. When you look up that word wonder, one of the definitions is admire, to love. You're going to love this system. See, people don't understand that what's currently happening now around the world is prophecy coming to pass. The prophecy of what? The prophecy of the chapters of Revelation, or the book of Revelation. Revelation 20 verse 12. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before the Most High, and the books were open, and another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the book according to their works. So if you're doing the works of the Most High, you're going to be delivered. And you're going to be rewarded based upon the level of work that you do. There's set kingdoms. There's set kingdoms. You're going to have Peter, which is King David, which is Isaac, sit upon the first throne. He gets the first position under Yahushua. Then you have king number 2. Then you have king number 3. Then you have the first 12 kings. And then from the first 12 kings, you have the 144,000, in which the first 12 kings are part of that group. So this is based upon your works. You should read, and I'm not going to go to it, 1 Corinthians. I might do a separate video on that. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, and read that whole chapter. That says a whole lot. And it speaks about the fruit that you bring in. If you lose your fruit, you're still going to be delivered. It's not so much about gaining fruit, more than it is about doing the will of the Most High. It says, the last line in Revelation 20 verse 12, it says, and the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. Revelation 20 verse 15. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. The lake of fire is a bird's eye view of looking down on Babylon the Great, pursuant to Psalms 91. It says we're going to be looking down, so we're going to be hovering over Babylon the Great. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. And part of the wicked are 2/3 of Jacob. Revelation 21 verse 27. And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination. So you moles are not going to make it. You ones that took the charagma, you're not going to make it. Or maketh, and I was going to say you Muslims, you Moors, you Kemetic people, you Baptists, you Methodists, you Jehovah's Witness, you Roman Catholics, you atheists, among Jake, you're not going to make it, because ultimately you're going to take that jab. They're going to deceive you. The devil's going to deceive you to the point where you take that jab, and the Most High is not going to give you the spirit to resist taking the jab, because we ain't taking the jab. We ain't taking the charagma, provided that we're a part of the elect. In the mind of God, you can go fly a kite. All maketh a... I'm sorry, let me read again. Revelation 21 verse 27. And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination, or maketh a lie. You got certain groups out there, and that's going to be explained in the next precept, that are teaching that pretty much the charagma is not what GMS says it is. You are the ones that maketh a lie, and the Most High is going to destroy you if you do not repent. And I don't see some of you not repenting. Some of you may repent, but Great Millstone had it right from day one. But they which are written in the Lamb's book of life, which is the elect. Last precept. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, that's why you can't just go out there and read scriptures and just make up the breakdown. Oh, that means this. Why does it mean that? Because you said so. That's why the Most High set up and established teachers. We are the top, not the 7. The 7 ain't in the picture no more. You can forget about the 7 for right now. The Most High is dealing with, I humbly say this, with the men of Great Millstone, starting from the apostles on down. And you have great men inside of the Great Millstone, through the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Revelation 22 verse 19, I'm going to open it up to 18. Revelation 22 verse 18. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecies of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, the Most High shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. 19 verse. And if any man shall take away from the words, and when you add, you take away. If you take away something, you're going to add something to it. Teaching that the MOTB is something other than what we teaching, you're guilty of Revelation 22 verse 18 and 19. And your pride won't allow you, and you see it. Some of you see it. You see that it's the so-called Bishop Nathaniel. He knows that what we've been saying is the truth, but he's been resisting this truth, and so he can't say, oh, you know what, GMS was right. The mark is what they say it was. Because that'll mess up a lot of people's minds. Excuse me. 18 verse, Revelation 22. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, the Most High shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. Meaning you're going to eat a missile. You're going to be in the scenario of Psalms 91. You're going to be on the bottom. You're going to be on the earth in Babylon attempting to dodge a missile. And you're not going to be successful. You're not going to be Tom Cruise in War of the Worlds where he's dodging lasers. You're going to get hit. Real talk. If you don't repent. 19 verse. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, the Most High shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book. The holy city represents the kingdom on earth. But if you're an Israelite, you're going to come back anyway, pursuant to Romans the 11th chapter. You're going to come back through the elect. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.